In a tense Sunday evening broadcast, Mike Waltz, President Trump's national security advisor, stepped into the spotlight with a stark warning. With a calm yet firm tone, he explained that recent U.S. airstrikes in Yemen had struck deep into the heart of the Houthi rebel group, knocking out several of its top leaders. The studio lights flickered as his words painted a picture of a forceful, well-aimed response that left few questions behind. What could possibly come next in this unfolding drama? On that same night, during a live show on a well-known national network, Waltz detailed how the strikes had not only hit key Houthi figures but also sent a clear message to Iran, the group's main supporter. This was an overwhelming response that took out multiple Houthi leaders, he said, his voice steady yet laced with urgency. When asked how these strikes differed from previous efforts under another administration, he replied that the focus now was squarely on dismantling the rebel leadership while holding Iran squarely to account. The air crackled with tension. Had a line finally been drawn? The deadly airstrikes, which came as a direct reply to repeated attacks on shipping in the Red Sea, claimed at least 31 lives. In a flurry of social media posts that night, President Trump warned that attacks on American vessels will not be tolerated and demanded that Iran cut its support for the Houthis immediately. His words were as sharp as a knife, leaving no room for misinterpretation. Any further threat would be met with full force. As the night deepened, one could only wonder, how far would this resolve stretch? During the broadcast, a well-known host pressed Waltz on the possibility of direct military action against Iran. Without hesitation, he stated that all options are always on the table with the president. His reply carried a weight that was hard to ignore, emphasizing that Iran must understand the clear and loud message: supporting the Houthis is simply unacceptable. With each word, the narrative grew more charged, hinting at a coming storm that might shake the very foundations of global policy. Waltz went on to warn that if Iran had provided any extra help, be it ships, trainers, or vital intelligence, to boost the Houthis' attacks, those targets would not escape scrutiny. Meanwhile, the Houthis themselves claimed that children were among the victims of Saturday's strikes, with 101 people injured in the chaos. The rebel group vowed that these strikes would spark a swift and strong response. Could this be the spark that ignites a larger fire? Across the ocean, Iran's top officials were quick to respond. Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi declared that Washington had no right to dictate Tehran's moves, while a spokesperson from Iran's foreign ministry fiercely condemned the U.S. airstrikes as a blatant breach of UN rules. In the background, the U.S. Central Command shared dramatic images of fighters and a building crumbling under a precision bomb. They claimed the strikes were meant to protect American interests, scare off enemies, and keep vital shipping lanes open. The air was thick with anticipation. What would the next move be in this high-stakes chess game? For more than a decade, the rebels in Yemen, aligned with a group of pro-Iran forces, have controlled large swaths of territory. They stand in firm opposition to both the United States and Israel, and during the recent Gaza conflict, they launched a series of drone and missile attacks on ships navigating the Red Sea and the Gulf of Aden. Pentagon spokesman Sean Parnell revealed that since 2023, the Houthis had attacked U.S. warships 174 times and commercial vessels 145 times. This relentless campaign has disrupted a crucial shipping route that normally carries around 12% of the world's trade, forcing many companies to take a long, costly detour. The stakes were high, and the tension palpable. Was this the tipping point? Adding to the mounting pressure, the Palestinian group Hamas, a longtime ally of the Houthis, lashed out at Saturday's strikes. They called the actions a blatant violation of international law and an assault on national stability. Just after a pause in their attacks during Gaza's ceasefire in January, the Houthis announced on Tuesday that they would resume their strikes until Israel lifted its blockade on aid to the struggling Palestinian region. With emotions running high, the stage was set for even greater conflicts. What new chapter would soon be written? In a fiery address filled with blunt warnings, President Trump shifted the focus back to the earlier attacks on merchant shipping. His message echoed like a battle cry: to all Houthi terrorists, your time is up, and your attacks must stop, starting today. If they don't, hell will rain down upon you like nothing you have ever seen before. He added, do not threaten the American people, their president, or worldwide shipping lanes. If you do, beware, because America will hold you fully accountable and we won't be nice about it. Every word dripped with a mix of resolve and menace, leaving listeners on the edge of their seats. What consequences would unfold next? The drama deepened further with a stern message about nuclear risks. Trump warned, "We cannot have a world with the Ayatollahs with their finger on the nuclear button." This sharp rebuke came on the heels of his recent attempt to restart nuclear talks with Iran through a letter sent just over a week ago. Yet, Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, had already turned down any talks about the U.S. nuclear program. On Sunday, Waltz reinforced the message on air, declaring that all options are on the table to keep Iran from acquiring a nuclear weapon. He stressed, "We cannot have a world with the Ayatollahs with their finger on the nuclear button. We cannot let a nuclear arms race spread across the Middle East." With the promise that the president would do whatever it takes to protect the world from a dangerous regime, the final question lingered in the air: how will this perilous saga conclude?